Hello and welcome to this Harugumo game, which turns out to be my best damage game to this date, and all around a really fun game. I'm playing on Haven on domination mode, and I spawn in the southeast corner, pretty much in the middle. There are two other destroyers on my team, a Harugumo that is spawned in the north, and a Thatcher that spawned in the south. I am running a Fun gunboat build on Harugumo, so my detection is pretty poor 6.9 kilometers. So I really want some help with spotting our ship, so I intend to follow the Fletcher towards B and use his detection to be able to fire at any potential enemy destroyers coming into B to contest it. Harugumo is at this point my favorite ship in the game, and it's simply because it's just so much fun to play it. I always had a preference for high rate of fire ships and just being able to zip around the map and constantly shooting. And this is really the epitome of that playstyle, I would say. Well, apart from not really zipping around since you're quite slow and big, but you can just basically spam HE or even AP at some points all game long, and it's so much fun to see the shells fly and seeing the big battleships running away in fear for your tiny 100mm shells. Montana was spotted west of the island that covers B from that flank, as our Fletcher is moving into B to start capping. I don't really want to follow him since, like I said, my detection is quite poor, and the Montana pops out. I hold my fire because usually there is a cruiser coming from that side as well, and they do have radar cruisers, and they have a Shapa. So I hold my fire until I get behind the island, but then it disappears. He eats a torps and a few of my shells and opens up his radar, but I'm already moving behind the island, so I'm in no real danger. Before the island's in the way, I managed to get some shots off, and he is early on quite low on HP. I see if the Montana is going to continue to push south, see if I can get some torps off, but he stops a bit, and so instead I slow down, start firing and smoke up. In the north, our Harugumo died, so they will have an easy time to cap C now. But luckily our Fletcher is capping B, so we should be able to at least have one extra cap each. The Montana is turning away. There are many ships shooting at him, but there's a lot of shells, especially from me here. And even though the damage is quite low, with the fires and the sheer amount of shells, it does affect most players, and it's quite tough to do anything other than run away when you see all the shells coming at you. The Shapa is spotted again, so I turn my guns to him, so I don't want him to radar me. My first salvo is way off since he doesn't start moving, but then I start doing damage on him. A friendly Montana is going in front of me. I don't really want to risk shooting at him, even though I think my shells would go over him, so I stop. shooting, but my last salvo before that kills the Chapo and I get my first kill. The ships to the west are kind of running away a bit. And just as we have kept B, there is a Montana and a Buffalo pushing into B. In Harugumo, you can do an open water gunning, but if you do that, you want to really be running away and kiting. So pushing up is not really a preferable option. So instead, I go towards B to help defend it. Our Buffalo in B dies, and the Fletcher will soon die from the torp that we saw. And there it is. We only have managed 1 kill, the Chapa, while they have managed 5. They have also the A and the C cap and are now taking B. So we are a bit behind. I open fire after I launch my torps towards the Buffalo in hopes of getting some hits. But right now I'm just trying to delay them capping B as much as possible. I get some help with the Buffalo, but unfortunately my torpedoes all miss, even though it turns back. A big hit on the Buffalo from, I think, the Missouri, which enables me to kill him here. So that's my second kill, but the enemy has capped B, so we are trailing behind quite a bit at this point. The Z 52 and the Montana is pushing a bit south, so I go around the island and then I slow down to smoke up and start firing at the Montana. The C-52 is also coming, and I do expect him to torp my smoke when he sees it. So what I try to do is start reversing early to avoid those torps. He smokes up the Montana, but I have some time more to shoot at him, and when it disappears, the Z-52 is still visible, so I switch to him instead. The Z-52, so I change back to the Montana, and there are the torps from the Z-52 that I expected. The Montana goes behind island, but there is the one I shot at before coming in from the west. So I try to reverse and turn my ship around to get all my guns on him. Meanwhile, the Montana was already in B and gets killed. So now we actually have a ship advantage, but we are still behind on points since we only have 1 cap and they have 3. The Montana disappears and is running behind the island, and my smoke's running out, so I leave. He is very low, so my intention here is to run straight north and kill him and then move on to deal with the Z-52. He is having his seal activated, but I have several allies that are shooting on him at him too, so he remains quite low as I come around the island and can open up on him again. Some more fires and a lot of shells, and he's dead, and I instantly switch to the Z-52. I get some help with him as well, but Even without that, he wouldn't have lasted very long because of the sheer amount of shells I hit him with. He's turning around, so I do expect it to be torpedoes. So I turn in towards him as I kill him and get my 4th kill. Start capping, and there are the torpedoes, and there's also a gearing from the north shooting at me. A bit unnecessarily, I hit the repair here because I thought it was the engine that was broken. I didn't really look close enough, and I wanted my engine to be fully functional when my smoke is ready, which is there. I get a Confederate while I shoot at the gearing, who is able to hit me quite well since it's quite easy to trace the shells and he is fairly close. Even though he smokes up, I have a Missouri with me so he can radar the gearing, and thanks to that I can kill him and get my Kraken. As you will see, I am regaining health, and that is because I am running the Yamamoto captain on my Harugumo. And when you get the Kraken, you get reload buffs on both your guns and torpedoes, and you can get up to 48% of your HP back. The Yugomo was spotted in the south, so I expect there to be some torps coming in from him. So I move backwards, not only to avoid the torp, but also to try and get a bit closer to the Musashi so I can open up on him. The torps do come where I was, so it was a good decision to move. And now the Musashi is in range just as we finish capping B. We also capped C, so we now have 3 of the 4 caps, but they're down to 2 ships, so not that much left for us to do. Here my aim is quite poor, but with the number of shells I can pump out with both a bit of AR and reload buff from the Kraken, I don't really need to aim that much to still do damage. Get some fires and then get some hits, and that's really all I need to do at this point. Get the Witherer, and I get detected. The island's in the way, and I spot the destroyer. So I hit my reload boost because I expect him to torp me, and then I open up. The first shells hit at 745, and he is almost full HP when I start firing, and this time I don't have any extra help. But even so, he's dead by 726. That's my 6 kills. The torps came as you saw, so was the right decision once again to move away from expected torps. Left is only the Musashi, but he is fairly low and we have a lot of ships, so he will not last very long. And you can see that he's not too fond of me at this point, because even though he has Hindenburg showing him more or less broadside, he's still deciding to fire at me, which I have to turn in a bit to avoid his shells. And unfortunately, I don't get my 7th kill. The Yamamoto takes in instead. But even without that 7th kill, it's still a really nice game with 6 kills, 238,508 damage. Confederate, Kraken, Wither, and High Caliber. I have almost 850 hits with my guns. And funnily enough, I have no torpedo hits at all. So it's only gun and fire damage. Of course, I get 19 fires, which is very nice. Almost 3.4k base XP, and by far the best player in the game. As we see here, I had roughly 94,000 fire damage and 144 from my guns. I eat almost 20,000 damage, but I have some help from the heal Yamamoto gave me, but even without that I would have been fine in this game. Not too many flags, so not that many credits, XP and Commander XP, but still a nice amount. So this was my to date best game in Harugumo, a ship I really enjoy playing, and something that will probably be seen here a bit more. Hope you enjoyed.